Meeting to order. It is November the 21st at 5:30 p.m. At this time, I would like to ask Councilwoman Butler if she would give the invocation, please.
Yes. Heavenly Father, we thank you for this day, and we thank you for the many blessings that you've given us. I pray that you be with us as we conduct this meeting this evening. Pray that everybody will have the best interest of our Pawnee tribal members in mind. Pray that you'll be with each and every person who is here and on their way home. Pray to ask all these things in your son Jesus' name.
Amen. Thank you, Councilwoman Butler. Secretary Gardepy, I don't know if you got that. It's 5:34 p.m. At this time, we'll call for roll call.
Misty No,
Here.
Jordan Canuho,
He's excused. They're on the way.
George Gardepy here, Carol Chapman,
Here.
Cynthia Butler,
Here.
Donna Hare,
Titiku.
Gene Evans,
He's excused. He's on the way.
Sammy Kimball.
Here.
Okay, we do have a quorum. This time, we're moving on to item number 3, approval of agenda. Is there any additions, deletions?
Yes, we do. Under new business, we're going to add number 4, approval to amend resolution 2358, Pawnee Nation Mental Health LLC banking authorization. And then number 5, under new business, approval of resolution 2363, ARPA allocation, behavioral health construction closing costs. And those are the changes.
Is there any discussion?
Oh, and there's one more addition. On number 3, it's just discussion on Division of Agriculture.
Okay, so we'll take out action, just discussion.
And then also, I just realized that on number 1, I didn't finish what it is. It just says chapter. But it's chapter 8, section B, all of it.
Chapter 8, section B,
Yeah, B as in board.
and what was the last one?
Holiday
Oh,
leave.
Holiday leave, okay, sorry. Okay, those are the changes, and make a motion to approve.
Hearing no further discussion, we have a motion to approve on the floor by Secretary Gardepy. Is there a second?
I'll second.
Second by Treasurer Chapman. No further discussion. We'll call for the vote.
George Gardepy, yes. Carol Chapman,
Yes.
Cynthia Butler,
Yes.
Donna Hare,
Aho.
Sammy Kimball.
Yes.
Okay, moving on to item number 4, old business. Number 1, discussion and/or action on Pawnee Evening Star MOU. At this time, we have Lucille Echohawk, Marissa Page, Virgil Wade, Gwen Shanatona, I believe, and then also on the line is Miss Miranda Dew. Is there somebody that wants to be the lead for Evening Star, or?
Also, John Echohawk, a member of the board, has
Okay.
joined.
Good
And
evening.
2 members of our board are excused due to travel and also family emergency. I'm expecting Walter Echohawk, but I'm not sure what his status is.
Okay, thank you for that. Welcome, John. At this time, it had been requested to have a discussion with the Evening Star on the exhibit that was done with the museum. And so we had a discussion with Miranda, and I know that you guys have requested that she be online as well. And what the situation was is we had a couple of questions as to how the proposal was, or I guess how the award was received. That we did notice that it was received in the Evening Star name. And then once the funds were received, we had questions as to why the funds didn't come directly to the nation, and it was paid to Mrs. Dew in turn, and then put into her foundation or her whatever or nonprofit that she has. I don't know if someone wants to just begin there, and then we can proceed from questions from our PBC then. up on the screen right now is the MOU that we have. We've been given the, let's see, Articles of Incorporation, the IRS letter, which had been presented before, I guess, to the PBC. And those documents were new to me, so we've all kind of shared them and then had this, like I said, the same understanding as to how everything transpired. We had asked our finance department if anything was received, to which they had informed us that nothing had been received. But like we said, you know, the grant was received in the Evening Star's name. So if you could just speak to that right now, we'll proceed from there.
If I may, I'm delighted. This is Lucille Echohawk. I'm the immediate past chair of the Pawnee Evening Star Fund. And our new chair, Carly Hare, is not able to join today. But we are delighted that Miranda Dew, though she's not feeling well, has joined, and she has the most complete information on how all of this transpired. So let her speak as best she can, because she has bronchitis. So Miranda?
Hello. Yeah, I know I went over this last time I was on the call with the PBC, but it all came about from the discussions with ATOM during the White Fox repatriation project. Susan Fellers told us there was an opportunity to get funding to make an exhibit about the White Fox repatriation project. And it was a very tight deadline. I was urged to write a proposal and get approval from the rest of the board on the proposal. And it was suggested, I believe it was Susan that said we could go through a nonprofit. So we talked about Pawnee Evening Star Fund as a fiscal sponsor to do that. Ideally, the project everything would have been paid out of Evening Star Fund, but it was not going to work that way just because of the way the bank account was set up. And so they ended up doing a subcontract to my creative services business, where I've just been project managing the project and hiring the other subcontractors to get the project done, and the exhibit will be essentially donated to the museum and will live there until someone takes it down. But that's my understanding of it. Yeah.
Okay, Lucille, did you have anything to add to that?
No, we just, for the Evening Star Fund, as its board chair, because we were without staff, I followed the lead of what had been transpiring in conversation and whatnot between the museum and ATOM. And, this is a very important project for the Pawnee Nation and our repatriation efforts. And so as a tribally chartered nonprofit of the Pawnee Nation, we stepped up and made the best of this situation. There was also as I understand it, Miranda, a real time crunch in terms of the fund release deadline from ATOM. And so that just made things even more stressful, but we got it done. And I think with illness and everything else, Miranda has done a wonderful job with the project from the report that's been received. So I don't know if other board members have anything to add or any questions. I'd open the floor to Pawnee Evening Star Fund board members to say whatever they would like to say or ask questions.
Does any of the other board want to add anything? Hearing nothing, I know that we
Oh,
had,
I think Walter's trying to speak, but he
Okay.
was on mute.
Yes, well, yes, Misty, hello, President Nuttall, and good evening, PBC members, and wish everyone a nice Thanksgiving holiday season. And I just wanted to add that, of course, the Evening Star Fund did not write the grant proposal. It was written by the museum board. And we merely served as a fiscal sponsor for the grant, sort of as a pass-through organization. And it's my recollection that in other words, we were to receive the money from ATOM and turn around and re-grant it to the museum board. And so it was rather time sensitive because I think that the money, there was a deadline for us to commit that money by the end of July, I believe. And so we were rushing around to try to get that done. And we were able to figure out an arrangement with Miranda to where we entered into a contract with her in her capacity as the chair of the museum board. Got the money over to them in the nick of time with a few days to spare, I think, but it was fairly kind of a rushed job. And they took it from there, and we're expecting, I think the grant was supposed to be done by the end of August, but with COVID and other matters, we're expecting the final report from Miranda on behalf of the museum board. I think everything's to be done in this upcoming January, and so that's my understanding of what took place, and I just wanted to add that much. But we're all very pleased with what Miranda has done and looking forward to the conclusion of the project here. Thank you.
Thank you
Thank you,
for
Bob.
that.
This is Gwen Shanatona.
Yes,
May I
Gwen.
speak? Thank you. Just to say that my perusal of the report that Miranda did was incredibly heartwarming. It was very professional and presented in a way that made it more interesting than the exhibit almost. The exhibit will be enhanced, I know, by January, but her manner of thinking about the White Fox issue in terms of the repatriation and how this did two things, tied in with the homecoming opening and little exhibit that was done at that time, as well as what can be thought about in terms of the bigger issue of repatriation for the Pawnee Nation. So I just wanted to thank her for the professionalism that she conducted and the manner in which she performed the work. Those of you who, once you get to see the report, I think you will be deeply pleased in terms of how this turned out. So just wanted to reassure you that from both the board member of the museum as well as of the Evening Star Fund, I was gratified, extremely gratified with the manner in which the project was carried out and reported on. Thank you.
Thank you for your comments, Gwen. Are there any other hands raised? I could see a hand raised, but I don't know who's.
It's Walter's hand. I don't know if he has more to say.
Misty? Oh, go ahead.
Yes.
Misty, it's my hand.
Yes,
It's my
Treasurer
hand.
Chapman.
Yes, good evening, all. I have been listening to this, and I would first of all like to say that Miranda's work is really beyond question. She is truly a professional. and all that was said about her, right on. I think the issue the council has had is that we had an MOU, and it was the MOU that was not followed in applying for the grant, and the council was not aware of any of it until after the fact. And I don't think the issue is the quality of her work. It's supreme. The issue is not following through with the signed MOU, and the PBC finding out after the fact was the issue.
Let me, I was just getting ready to turn it over to PBC for questions. And in regards to that, there are follow-up questions to what Carol's initial question is, the same thing. We had a question from Vice President Canujo, and that was, what was the total amount awarded and how much of that was deposited to the nation? Well, that was his initial question. We'll come to find out, the deposit was made between Evening Star and then Miranda Dew. So I don't know who wants to speak to that. The second question was, why was it not deposited in the Pawnee Nation account as President or former President Echohawk had mentioned? The Evening Star was the fiduciary party in this agreement. Why was the Pawnee Nation not utilized? And then the third was, just as Treasurer Chapman had indicated, why was this not reported to the Pawnee Nation Treasurer as stated in the bylaws? So those are the questions right now. If you want to go ahead and respond to that, whoever wants to speak to that for Evening Star.
This is Lucille. I can start. The amount of the grant award was $29,500. And I don't have handy a copy of the contract with Miranda, which the Evening Star Fund entered into in order to get this project done with the timeframes, close timeframes we were dealing with. But that was the total amount. And the ATOM withholds 10% until completion of the project, and then they pay the rest out to, in this case, the fiscal sponsor. But we have paid Miranda Dew in full what she requested, and which I don't have in front of me.
Okay, can we speak to why the Evening Star acted as the fiduciary party and it wasn't presented to the Pawnee Nation?
Miranda, do you have information on that? Because I believe there was some
Sure.
attempt to do that.
I'm not, at the time we were working with ATOM on the grant, it was suggested that we could use a nonprofit, and Evening Star came up as that. It seemed like it'd be a quicker option at the time since we were under a tight deadline. I was not aware of the MOU, so that's why we decided to go with Evening Star Fund. It didn't seem like it would be an issue. So that's my understanding. Yeah.
Okay, and then the third question that was asked was, why was it not reported to the Pawnee Nation Treasurer?
I know, I will say that I was unaware of what reporting needed to happen since it was an external grant going to an external nonprofit to donate an exhibit to the museum. I did make sure that the executive director, Jennifer Gover, Little Son, and President Nuttall were on the email threads, and they were aware of what was going on. Even had them added on the grant submission website so they could review all of the details alongside Pawnee Evening Star Fund as we were doing this. And so I guess I kind of took the silence as, we were doing things in the right way. So that was my understanding.
Yes, and that was for the proposal, but not after the award was submitted. I mean, was not after the notification from the funding agency, because that's what we were inquiring as to when we would receive the funds. And that's when we were notified that the funds had already been received, the project was already being completed, because all of this had occurred during homecoming. And then, as we're still going along, we're finding out, that a final report, Ms. Dew informed us that a final report she was still working on it, and it was being presented to Evening Star. And yes, we have not received that report. So if we could get a copy of that, I would appreciate it. At this time, I'm going to open it up to other council members that have any questions for Evening Star. Councilwoman
Sammy?
Kimball?
Yeah, okay.
Thank you very much. Can you hear me, Misty?
Yes, we can.
Okay, great. I appreciate the opportunity to speak. I am just rather dumbfounded, quite frankly, that Evening Star didn't even follow their MOU process in any of this. Walter Eckehoff wrote the check over to Miranda, a handwritten check. It didn't even come out of a business. It was a handwritten check that came out of like a drawdown from a bank. And Walter, you know better than that yourself. You know that it has to come in to the nation for accountability. It's unacceptable. The way this whole thing went down, I don't care what kind of timeline you're on. When you incur business on behalf of the nation, then the nation really needs a seat at the table too. At least our financial team. And so I was rather disappointed. I'm all about organizations, trying to do good, right? We all want that. And I'm not trying to naysay nothing. I'm just saying that the process is broken and it's unacceptable. And I, for one, was really put off that all of this already happened in a silo, rather than getting us all at the table. And I want that to stop. It has to stop.
Let me just respond, if I could, Councilwoman. As I think was as mentioned, the Evening Star Fund did not write the grant, and we were contacted to simply act as the fiscal sponsor, simply to receive the money to turn around and get it to the museum board. So in the writing of the grant, I guess, we were not involved in that, but normally when a grant is written in the name of the Pawnee Nation, it goes through the internal review process. And since we didn't write the grant or were not involved in writing it, the MOU certainly, we had nothing to follow because we did not write the grant. And so we were contacted simply as the fiscal agent, which means that we received the money from ATOM. We entered into a contract with Miranda in her capacity as the chair of the museum board. And since the museum board did not have its own bank account, I wrote that check. It was in the bank account of the Evening Star Fund, and sent that over to Miranda under that contract. And nothing in the contract.
Under her company.
Yeah, right.
Under her company.
That's right, in her capacity as the museum board. That was what our contract said. And so we followed that, and as I say, we didn't write the grant, so there was no coordination or reporting that we were required to do under the MOU. And in fact, I think the MOU had been suspended by the council earlier in the summer anyway. I'm hoping that we can get the MOU back into place, and in the event in the future, if we're ever in a position to write a grant on behalf of the Pawnee Nation, we would certainly follow the internal procedures, which allows all of the pertinent staff and the council information about the grant and how it would be taking place here. And I don't know what procedure was followed in the writing of the grant and who all was informed and when they were informed. But as I say, we were not involved in that. We were simply contacted after it had already been written and gotten out the door. And they asked us for our help in getting the money to the museum so it could begin work. And that's what we did. So I don't feel like your concerns are very well founded as far as us trying to go around the MOU. The MOU had been in suspension to begin with, but even if it were in place, since we didn't write the grant, we had no coordination or reporting duties with regard to this a small role that we played in just getting the funds available to the museum board. So I don't know if that answers your question or not, but that's my understanding of what took place. You know, I am aware that whenever a grant is written by the nation in the name of the nation, that you have your own internal procedures that you go through. And I'm assuming that was followed and also I think this was the first effort on the museum board itself in terms of writing a grant as well. So maybe, I don't know if all of the bases were touched or whatever, you know, but that certainly, we had nothing to do with that part of it, so.
Well, thank you, Walter, for that information. My point is, you know, transparency, right? And you as former president knows, you know, the fiduciary responsibilities of check to check.
Thank you, Councilwoman Kimball. Treasurer Chapman?
Yes, as I'm hearing, it is the kind of like I'm hearing that the Evening Star really isn't responsible here for anything that for all the reasons. But I want to go back to the meeting that we had with Miranda as to how this all progressed, and I as I understood it now, Miranda, and it could be wrong, but weren't you approached by the Evening Star board member Gwen Shonatona to apply for this?
We were approached by Susan Feller from ATOM to apply for this grant, and talking to Gwen, it came up that we could use Pawnee Evening Star Fund as a fiscal sponsor. Yeah. But Susan Feller was the one kind of driving that conversation.
Yeah, this is Sammy. I'm sorry. I'm in an airplane, so I just lost activity again. But my point is that we can all do a better job. The MOU with Evening Star was not suspended until after we found out that this had all went down without notification to council or to our finance department. That's when we put a suspension on it because of that. I am still, you know, wondering why it all went behind. Everything was done behind, and perhaps it's all about training, right? Maybe we Maybe Miranda's just not knowing, but I would expect that the board would be having meetings with whoever their representative is, Jennifer or whoever, and we can know about this before it's just thrown over the fence. It's not fair. It's not fair to us to have that done. As a council, as a nation, for two entities, Miranda's private business and Evening Star private business, to have gone and done business on behalf of the nation, and we were not aware. That's my say, and that's the rub for me. And I'm probably going to get knocked off of this call again, but I'm going to just leave it there. If everybody else wants to have their say, that's awesome. I still have a problem with it, the way it was down. And even today and with all due respect, Lucille, you didn't even have the information to talk about this, the money and the grant and all this stuff. You didn't have that information handy for Miranda to even speak to it tonight. So it just seems like the left doesn't know what the right's doing, and that's all. It's no rub against the Evening Star or Miranda or nothing. It's all about transparency and being on the same page. We all are trying to do our best, and we can all do better. Thank you.
Thank you, Councilwoman Kimball. Lucille?
And thank you, Councilwoman, because what I'm surmising in all of this is we have many communication issues and as well as transparency, and I would say it's on both sides. And we are created by the Pawnee Nation of Oklahoma, and we didn't even receive notice that the MOU had been rescinded. And part of our challenges are that we don't have staff, and or at least formally, I was the contact point, but I was not informed that the MOU was rescinded, and so I think, I don't like finger pointing, and I'm sure nobody on this call does, because we all want to get on the same page. And how do we do that? Better communication. And I think we can all take responsibility for that.
Yes, thank you. Does any other council have questions?
I do, Misty, my hand's up.
Okay, can we let these other council members have their
Sure.
questions, because we're going back and
Sure.
forth here?
Sure. I just can't see. I'm sorry. I just
Okay.
can't see.
Secretary Gardapi?
Thank you. Yeah, so I'm not on here to finger point, but I think, I see a solution. Why don't we rework this MOU to address the issues we have, our fellow council members have had? Because I still think this is a great vehicle for us to capture funds that we wouldn't be able to go after anyway. But I did want to, while the board's on, I did want to thank you guys for being part of this organization and being Pawnee and wanting to do better for your tribe. I think it's commendable. I mean, you guys don't have to do anything, but you want to. And from my standpoint, I hear Councilwoman Kimball and Treasurer Chapman, and I agree. There's issues. We all agree, right? So why don't we work through these issues and reinstate this at some point in the future, to where we're all agreeable to the outcomes. So that's all I wanted to say. Thank you.
Thank you, Secretary Gardapi. And Lucille,
I'd like to just interject, if I may, and thank you for that, George. I appreciate that. Yeah, I think if we can, looking going forward, that MOU, it seems to me it contemplates a very close working relationship between the Pawnee Nation government and the Pawnee Evening Star Fund. Very close collaboration in order to be successful. And we've just acted to, we're going to be hiring, excuse me, Marissa as our
Uh-oh. Okay. Councilwoman Butler?
Thank you, President Nettle. I just wanted to say thank you guys for coming and having this discussion. I think it's important that we be able to communicate. And I think that that's a big part of it, and I agree with you guys on that. The only thing that I have, and it's not anything towards you guys, and I know that we do have a freeze on the MOU right now. It's not a rescission, it's a freeze. I think that was what was put in the motion. Just wanted to clarify that because, we're still wanting to do something with this, and I'm in agreement with Secretary Gardapi, fixing it, making it better. The only thing that, and I mentioned this in I don't think I mentioned it in this last quarterly meeting, but the quarterly meeting before that, in the MOU, it has number 3 on reporting obligations that will get a quarterly report, and we haven't seen that from the last 2 quarters. So if we could just, because we're reporting to the people whenever we do our quarterly reports, it's constitutionally required of us. And, you mentioned it in your MOU that it would be a part of what you guys did for the Pawnee Nation, what you guys were working with us for. And so I just want to make that request that we get that, at least for this past quarter. That would be appreciated, because I read the quarterly reports, and I love to read what we're doing, what our organizations are doing. And, but just wanted to bring that up, that we would appreciate a quarterly report for the next quarter as well. Thank you.
Any other hands up, Jamie? Yes, Marissa, please.
Good afternoon, council members. I appreciate you all taking the time to meet with us today. I know our time is valuable. And I just want to say that, yes, I think it's really important that we include a process step by step in our MOU so that we're all on the same terms and that we do have that transparency with you all. We will be happy to get a quarterly report to you within the next couple of days or by Monday. And if I would be really happy if one of you would actually go over the process with me so I can understand. I have a Zoom account, happy to meet with you all over Zoom, and so that we can talk about the process and what exactly you do all expect from the Pawnee Evening Star Fund. So thank you all again. I appreciate you.
Yes, thank you for your comments. Anyone else? Oh, Walter, we got you back on.
Yes, I'm sorry, folks. I got disconnected here. Oh, I was just going to say that I think that going forward, I really envision really close coordination because I think that's what it's going to take once we get up and rolling here. For our part, we can't really be successful fundraising unless we have a reliable partner, with the Pawnee tribal government. And I think that the MOU calls for really close coordination and collaboration going forward. And you guys, I think, have registered some valid concerns on this initial project that we helped out on. And I think that I envision, weekly communication between Marissa, as our executive director, and Jennifer, who is our point of contact there with the Pawnee Nation. And then in addition to that, recall back last spring when we were discussing the MOU, one of the things that we had agreed to do at the MOU, the Evening Star Fund, was to amend our bylaws to add the sitting president and sitting treasurer of the Business Council to our board, or their designees. If you ladies are too busy or whatever, you could appoint a designee to sit in your place if you so choose. And so we've gone ahead and done that, and we have room on our board as well for both the sitting president and the sitting Treasurer Chapman as well on our board, or your designees, whoever you may so choose to designate, if that's what you would like to do. So I think with that addition, that change going forward, plus the fact that we're now going to be having our own executive director, I really envision very good, close communications going forward. And I think that's what it's going to take to be successful, to be able to bring in additional funding for Pawnee Nation programs, projects and programs. So I just wanted to say that much, and maybe we stumbled a little bit on this initial effort, but I'm thinking that if we can get the MOU back into place and get up and rolling, that we'll all make a better effort here on communication.
Yes, that sounds good. When is how often do you meet, and when is your next meeting?
The board currently meets monthly on the third Thursday of each month.
Lucille,
You're cutting out again, Walter.
Bingo, Max Headroom over
Okay, I heard the third Thursday of the month. Is that a virtual meeting, or where is that held?
It's virtual.
there. December 21st is the next meeting
Okay, so we have December 21st
at 6 p.m.
at 6 p.m. And can we get an invite sent, please? Thank you. Okay, any further discussion?
President Nuttall, this is Gwen Shonatona.
Okay, did Gwen have her hand first, or who?
That's Virgil.
Um,
Carol.
Gwen, we're going by the hand raise. In order that you raise your hand, have Miss Carol Chapman, Treasurer Chapman next.
I understand. I'm on in my car coming from a medical appointment, and I can't see the hands on my phone. So thank you for that clarification.
Okay. Treasurer Chapman?
Yes. I would like to, as we are closing this out, I would like to say that I did agree totally with what Councilwoman Kimball said. And to clarify some points that were made, and reiterate, the MOU was not rescinded when this happened. It was rescinded afterwards. I want to clarify that. And then, and I'm not being somehow, I'm just saying this, I don't feel that the Pawnee Nation carries any fault for this. We had an MOU, and we are doing our due diligence to see that it's carried through. It was violated. So I do not see that we have done anything wrong. And I just wanted to say also, the comment was made that the Pawnee Nation created Evening Star, and that is not true. You are not an entity. You were not created by the Pawnee Business Council, and I would like to clarify that also. You were not created by the Pawnee Business Council, and I would not want that to become like a standard information. And I just wanted to clarify those facts. And I want to thank Marissa. I know Marissa's a very bright young woman, very capable. So I just wanted to go ahead and say those things and clarify them. And I am just wondering, I know there was a short time span, but was it so short that no one could make a phone call or at least send a short memo? Was it that close that you totally overlooked us completely? Was the timeline that strong?
I think that would have
Okay.
been up to the museum board. The museum board.
But they don't
Could
have
have.
the MOU with they don't have the MOU with us. Miranda was unaware of the details of the MOU. How would she know?
Okay, thank you for your comments,
Yes.
Treasurer Chapman.
Thank you.
Virgil?
Thank you, President Nuttall, and Noah, to all the rest of the Business Council. I want to say, first of all, it's an honor to be here tonight and to sit amongst all of you to try to problem solve this. I mean, that's what we're talking about here. Again, the thing that we take away from this, or that we should take away from this tonight, is the lessons learned, going forward, how we can better work together and communicate together. Obviously, there was some things that didn't happen, and they should have happened. I think we relied upon those, maybe others, to have that happen, and it didn't happen. So, on behalf of, being a part of the board, I want to say, we need to do better then, if that's the case. One of the things that I'm hearing tonight too is that, this, I guess, a freeze on this MOU. I'm a little concerned about it being frozen, and maybe you are going to take action. Hopefully you are at some point, but also asking us to continue to deliver or put out some deliverables when we don't know exactly if the MOU is still in place or going to be in place. That, again, would be a clarifying point that we would like, or at least I would like to know, on behalf of the Evening Star Fund, because, again, it will give us a clearer understanding of the relationship that we're in, and help us determine where we go and what the next steps are. I'd like to also be a part of that with Marissa in terms of the report. That's being expected. I think, we can all learn from whatever it is that your expectations are from the Business Council, so that we can deliver what your expectations are and meet those expectations accordingly. So, but again, I think, just hearing this tonight is good. I think it's good to always get together and talk about these things in a respectful way, to acknowledge that, we are trying to help each other. And at the end of the day, we're here for the Pawnee Nation, right? I mean, that's all of us, both the Business Council and the Evening Star Fund. At the end of the day, we're trying to create an avenue of funding that will help our nation, such as this White Fox repatriation. It's very important to our people. As we know, the history tells us, that is something that we don't want to forget, and we want others to be educated on and knowledge, forthgoing. So, again, I just want to say that little bit tonight, President Nuttall, and look forward to working with you all in this role.
Yes, thank you.
Thank you.
Donna, did you have Councilwoman here?
Yes. So I want to thank everybody on Evening Star for the work that you're doing and the dedication you have in trying to help Pawnee Nation with fundraising. I agree with Secretary Gardapi in moving forward, and also with Virgil on, kind of looking at ways of working together, improving it, and moving forward together. I know that our systems here at Pawnee Nation is not always easy for our tribal members when they're trying to contract or do some work, and so I know that we need to look at that on our side also. But I think communicating and working together with the good hearts that we have will take us a long way. Thank you.
Yes, Gwen. The floor is yours.
Thank you, Madam President. I just wanted to thank Miranda for clarifying that I was not initially aware of the grant that Susan Feller, I'm assuming now, only tonight do I understand why my name keeps coming up, especially from Carol for whatever reason. I believe that maybe this issue came from the discussions about the White Fox repatriation, excuse me, issue. I think Miranda indicated that, and she is the one who's sort of officially on those calls as the chair of the museum board. I think, let's see, Matt Reed as a former board member and perhaps continuing board member, and I were on those lists as well, but I only am able to attend if I know Miranda can't. So I'm assuming that maybe is where someone thought that I knew and told Miranda about the grant possibility. I didn't know anything about it until after Susan had, I assumed, contacted Miranda, but I now understand it was probably through the White Fox discussions, those meetings. So I'm happy to have that clarified. Thank you.
Thank you for
And
that.
I look forward to us continuing to communicate and to work things out. Thank you.
Yes, thank you for that, Gwen. And just to further a little bit elaborate on that, that is what had occurred is Ms. Feller informed Miranda that that opportunity was available. However, the nation had previously submitted that proposal to ATOM, but it didn't get considered for funding because it didn't meet the requirements that was in the announcement parameters. And so when it came back, that's what was suggested, that it just be tweaked to meet the opportunity, funding opportunity announcement that was given or presented to her. And so that's why we didn't understand, why they went to an outside grant writer and all of that had transpired. Once that had began, we didn't know that there were contracts. So even within the proposal, it states that, Gwen, that you were the grant writer for it. So I don't know, again, that could be, because it was tweaked from a previous proposal, or I'm not for sure how all that transpired. I mean, because it come from an existing proposal that was already written, there may be things in there that, we weren't aware of. So I can see where there's miscommunication on that part. And yes, I agree that, we need to move forward. This is a good vehicle to utilize in order to, like everyone has stated, to reach out to individuals and then private donors, private organizations, foundations that the nation doesn't typically deal with. We deal with a lot of federal funding and, coming about with this federal funding, sometimes we get lucky and they inform us, that there's outside organizations or entities that have an interest in this, in funding, organizations or charitable causes. So yes, this is a good opportunity once we get off the ground and this was an initial grant proposal that was submitted. So yes, we're going to have a little bit of obstacles, a little bit of kinks in the processes. So that's what we're looking to try to find out what happened and how we can address this in order to have, a good process in place. I'm thankful that you all were able to attend tonight. Yes, the clarification was made, and that's what I was getting ready to state, was that it was just a recommendation to suspend it as opposed to, just rescinding it. So yes, we look forward to working with Evening Star and getting some kind of revision in place. The question that we have now, after this discussion is just what you're seeking right now is whether to reinstate it as is or maybe put caveats or something. So that will be, discussed once we finalize our discussion here. So if no one else has any questions? Who? Councilwoman Kimball?
Misty, this is Sammy. Yes, thank you, Misty. Could you explain to Evening Star the repercussions that we have relative to some of the funding that we get, that if we say we get the 10,000, they keep the 10% that we actually are behind the 8 ball with labor and such for that? Can you just address that? You shared that thought with me before.
Yeah, and this is what was brought about when we used
Thank you.
outside grant writers. If the project is 10,000 and the consultant is not written into the project, then, we're short that 10%, or, we're talking as like it's an automatic 10%, but in the MOU, it says it can be negotiated up to 10%. So that's something else, that it's not just an automatic 10%, but once we utilize that, or once that is completed, then yes, if the total cost of the project is 10,000, whatever funds that the Evening Star takes, if the grant writer or consultant or whoever is not written into the proposal, then the nation has to fill that gap in the funding. So that's just something to be noted as well, that, yes, you may seek. That's why we don't have like issues necessarily with outside donors and seeking, funds from foundations, because yes, I think for myself that, the foundation or Evening Star Fund, that's the purpose of it, to go out and do that. So yes, coming or taking those 10%, from whatever is received, I don't see the problem in that. But when it comes to grant writing, when you do that budget, it's up for a specific amount of funds available. So just something to remember when grant writing on behalf of the nation, that if those funds are taken away, the nation has to fill that void. And so I don't know if that's something that can be addressed in the MOU as well, or, but that we need to look into that further. Any other?
Thank you very much, Natalie.
Yes, Treasurer Chapman.
Yes, I just wanted to follow up on what you said, that we, when this was all happening, the fact that we were also applying for the money, the Pawnee Nation should always be given priority, no first, under no circumstances, if they're applying for it, should another organization go apply for it. That's all I had to say, and thank you.
Thank you, Treasurer Chapman. Okay. So if that's all the discussion, is there any action that you wish to pursue this evening? I know we have a couple of, items or suggestions, recommendations that we want to revise the MOU. I don't know that anybody has, mentioned rescinding. So if we can just get a motion to. You either want to keep it as suspended, or do you want to reinstitute it and then?
Misty, this is Carol. I think that we should meet privately about this among ourselves as a council. I believe that we should table it before we start all over again, because we've dealt with some serious issues. We've got several points made. I believe that this is a big enough issue that the council should table it and discuss it again and make sure.
So are you making a motion?
Okay. Yes, I make a motion to table.
What are we tabling?
What are we tabling, just to?
To table any more action on Evening Star tonight. We've had good discussion. But I don't believe that we're ready. We haven't solved all the problems right here. So I think that we should table it for now until we can get together as a council and make sure that it's correct. So that's why I'm recommend tabling it. Made a motion to table it.
Okay, we have a motion on the floor to table the Evening Star MOU. Is there a second?
Misty, this is Sammy. I would like to say that just on the basis of them working on the MOU and presenting it back to us, I think that those tweaks, it could be done very quickly, that we could have a review of it and be able to make a knowledgeable and thoughtful vote. That's all. I would just like to see the MOU rewritten. Bring it back to us and let's just vote and get it back into place. Thank you.
Yes, Vice President.
I was just going to wait on that second before any discussion. My thought would be is to keep the current action in place, which is just the suspension of the MOU, and no action needed from the discussion tonight. And then it'd be a new agenda item for a future meeting of approval of MOU revisions. I think that's kind of the way that I would see it.
I can get down with that.
Okay, would you like to make that in a motion since we didn't get a second
I
to
think
table?
Yeah, Councilwoman.
Oh, Sammy, did you second? Treasurer Chapman's motion?
Yes, I did.
Okay,
Theory as Vice President Canuho.
I didn't get that. Can you repeat that?
Yeah. Yes, I did second it, based on the same thing, mirroring what Vice President Canuho said, to have them rewrite the MOU, bring it back, and let's take a look at it. That was my second. Thank you.
Okay, so we have two different items. We have the, first, we have a motion on the floor to table, and then we have a second by Councilwoman Kimball. So let's call for the vote.
Yes,
I didn't know there was a second.
Yes, thank you.
I like your idea, but are we still voting on this? Okay.
Yeah, because she seconded.
Okay. How are we calling for the vote? Okay. Jordan Canuho?
No.
George Gardapi, no. Carol Chapman? Carol Chapman? You're on mute if you're talking. Okay.
Okay, I'm confused now. What are we,
Your
What
are
your
we
motion, your motion was to table, and Councilwoman Kimball seconded it. So we're voting on that.
okay, and then what Jordan said was like a different option or the
Yeah.
same option?
Yes, he had a different option. But since there was a second to your motion, we're calling for the vote.
Okay.
Hold
and
on,
then-
hold on. I said I mirrored Canuho, Vice President Canuho's thoughts, and I wanted to second that.
So you seconded
Okay, so
his?
Yes.
Yes,
Because he
okay.
wants to see it come back.
Right, okay, whatever. I agree with you, Sammy.
Okay, thank you for that clarification. So there was no motion to table. It failed due to no second. So the motion on the floor was no action needed by Vice President Canuho, seconded by Councilwoman Kimball. And so now we'll call,
Yeah.
We don't need any action.
Yeah, that
That
was
was the
my
whole
we need
thing.
a motion.
We
Yeah,
don't need a
it's
motion
just-
because
Okay,
the
so
action
it
is
just
to not
failed.
take
Just,
action.
No action.
okay,
Just keep the MOU, the suspension of MOU in place and
Until
no
we have
action
something to
required.
work with.
And then we'll work internally to revise the MOU and present it as a new agenda item.
okay.
Yeah.
So no action needed on old business number 1. Thank you, all of those
Thank
who
you.
attended from Evening Star, and you're dismissed at this time unless you want to continue on listening to the meeting. Item number 5, we have new business number 1, approval of resolution 2361, HR policy and procedure revisions, chapter 8, section B, holiday leave. And this resolution was in your packet. 2361, what we're doing is presenting the holidays that were approved. This was amended from the original resolution that you received, which just stated that we were removing a holiday. So we're actually putting the approved holidays in. That way, if someone was to ever look back at the resolution, they'll know what was officially approved on this date. So are there any questions?
I have a
Yes.
question.
I do recall that the council, they didn't do a resolution, but they did a motion to change President's Day and recognize it as Chief's Day. And so I'm just wondering if they're making that request to change it back to President's Day? Or if we can just get it changed.
Any other revisions, comments, questions? If not, I'll entertain a motion to approve.
I make a motion.
There's a motion been made by Treasurer Chapman. Is there a second?
I'll second.
And seconded, and can we also add with, motion to approve with corrections or with changes?
So moved.
Carol, or Treasurer Chapman, do you agree?
Ooh, yes, I agree.
Thank you. Councilwoman Butler, I heard your comment. No further discussion, we'll call for the vote.
Jordan Canuho,
Yes.
George Gardapi, yes. Carol Chapman,
Yes.
Cynthia Butler,
Yes.
Donna Hare,
Oh,
Sammy Kimball.
Yes.
Okay, thank you. Item number 2, approval of resolution 2362, City of Pawnee easement request Highway 64. This also is in your packet. This is, we visited on this the last council meeting, and the city is requiring a resolution. We did have a correction under the now, therefore it be resolved from what was initially sent out, and it just addresses grammatical error. The Pawnee Council does hereby approve and authorize. It removed the S from approves and S from authorizes. And then the second correction was, be it further resolved that the Pawnee Business Council President and Executive Director is authorized to review, negotiate, and sign required documents necessary to initiate the intent of this resolution. Is there any discussion? If no discussion, I'll entertain a motion to approve with changes.
I'll make that motion.
Got a motion by Secretary Gardapi. Is there a second?
I'll second.
Second by Councilwoman Butler. If no further discussion, we'll call for the vote.
Jordan Canuho,
Yes.
George Gardapi, yes. Carol Chapman,
Yes.
Cynthia Butler,
Yes.
Donna Hare,
oh,
Sammy Kimball.
Yes.
Okay, item number 3, discussion on Division of Agriculture, or actually presentation, I guess.
Y'all ready for this?
Yes, we are.
Okay. You guys have this in your packet, right? Everybody? Okay. This presentation is not only for the
Yes.
Business Council, but also for the citizens of the Pawnee Nation who may be listening or watching or whatever. 3 years ago, in October, we were handed the task of creating a cattle program for the Pawnee Nation.
You gotta turn that on. Yeah, with that.
How's that? Good? Okay. 3 years ago, we started the cattle program. I told the council then that the cattle program would probably need 3 years to be built up to the point of doing what it needs to do, providing meat to the tribe, making it a self-sustaining program, which it's done for the last 3 years. With the success that the cattle program has had over the last 3 years, it is developing into a division of agriculture. You start with the cattle program, and it leads to many avenues in the world of ag. So what I'm going to give you is a brief overview of the Division of Agriculture as we would like to see it. I believe in the month of January, we're going to have a complete 5-year program for the Division of Agriculture. So, the Division of Agriculture is the organization, programming, and startup needs for the program. On this slide here, the Agriculture Committee is an advisory committee. It provides oversight for the Division of Agriculture. The Division Director will be myself. The Administrative Assistant will be Brittany Nicolette. The first department listed there is the greenhouse. The greenhouse has ran into a lot of problems over the last couple of years. We're waiting on a reverse osmosis system for the water system. That should be here tomorrow. And they'll get it installed next week. Then in the spring, we will start growing produce in the greenhouse. Right now, there is no coordinator for that program. The next one, the Four Bands Cattle Company, that has been established for the last 3 years. For the first 3 years, Bob Eastossel was the herd manager. He is no longer the herd manager. J.T. Justice will move up to the herd manager, and the field hand will be Timothy Monoesi.
Manasseh.
He told me today.
You talking about Timmy? Timmy, that's Timmy.
The next department underneath the Division of Agriculture will be Agriculture, Land, and Outreach. Sonny Evans will be the coordinator of that program. And that kind of leads to a realty as well, realty department / realty department with that division, or with that department. The fourth one will be the Tataha department, bison. For the last year, we've been working on funding for the program. We have become a member of the Intertribal Buffalo Committee. We will be heading to Las Vegas in December, and we're going to present a proposal to some of the partners that we hope are going to be there and try to establish a herd here on the reserve. So, we went to a meeting in October in Denver. We met with ITBC and some of the partners they had there. One of the partners they had was the Native Americans in Philanthropy. And we hope that they are in Las Vegas because we have a really good relationship with the guy we met from that organization. So, okay. The departments, the first one listed here is the greenhouse. The purpose of the greenhouse is food security, revenue generation, tribal member training in a controlled environment in agriculture, traditional plant propagation. The self-sufficiency status of this department, complete funding provided through revenue generation projected within the next 3 years. The Four Bands Cattle Company, like I said previously, has been established for 3 years. every year we have met the budget and with excess left over. So it is a self-sustaining operation already. The purpose of the Four Bands Cattle Company is food security, revenue generation, ceremonial meat provisioning. I think this year we provided meat, I think, for all the dances, I think. Land restoration. Returns from the cattle fund, restoration work needed on leased acreage. We have to continuously keep our land as it should be, fencing, grass, trees. It's a nonstop endeavor. We also have opportunities from the USDA and NRCS, conservation partnership and funding, and that would be during your drought season. We get payments for drought. We get payments for crops that we have on the ground. The self-sufficiency status on the Four Bands cattle is completely funded through revenue generation. The Ag Land Management and Outreach Department, the purpose is to manage agricultural land quality and trust status, plant surveys, rangeland, cropland, and fencing condition, provide agricultural services for tribal producers, tribal contact for leases, USDA services, and funding. Business planning, biosecurity planning, which is becoming a big issue within the field of agriculture. Other services as need is identified. The self-sufficiency status, working towards full sufficiency through self-contracting of BIA land services. And the first 2 years of this department has already been funded. So we've got the 2 years covered until 26. The fourth one is the Tataha Department. Like I said, we are currently, and for the last year, have been in meetings with the ITBC. We've met numerous people across the state of Oklahoma, people from across the United States who currently have buffalo, we are picking their brain. We are getting information that we need for the buffalo. And the one thing that I would like to see done before we get buffalo is that we have everything in place. Everything from the pen, everything. Everybody we've talked to have given us excellent information on the stuff that's needed. And we've visited at least 10 different tribes and places that have buffalo. Purpose, cultural and ceremonial use, meat provisioning for ceremonies and dances, reestablish of interdependent relationship through observation and education, grassland habitat restoration, natural behaviors, support threatened native species, external philanthropic funding, self-sufficiency status, to be at least partially funded through the sale of buffalo meat. It's a hard endeavor to make the buffalo self-sustaining. It's just it's really not possible. I mean, yeah, I mean, they require so much land, and we really don't have the land at the Pawnee Nation Reserve to do what we need to do with the buffalo. But in our proposal, we have requested money for land. So that's it for the departments. That's going to be under the Division of Ag. This is a startup supply list, and the reason I threw this in there is We are starting from scratch on everything. The building has nothing in it. There's no desks, there's no computers, there's nothing. It's completely empty. This is to kind of give a idea of what it costs to start a division from scratch. I mean, it's everything that's needed in the building. There's money in there for signage. So that's the reason for this slide.
Are we talking about the COVID building? Is that what we're talking about?
Yes, sir. Yeah, we'll be located in the COVID building on Morse Road.
Good.
And do you have anything else on the slides? Or that's it? Okay. Thank you. The girls say thank you up there, so that's it. But we will have, like I said, in the month of January, we was talking with Jennifer yesterday. We plan on having a full 5-year plan, probably middle of January, that we'll come back to the business council and present it for approval on the plan.
Right.
Any questions?
You're not asking for funds right now, today?
Yes, Sunny. Sunny.
Can I just wanted to clarify one thing about the proposal before we get in trouble. This is not, oh, sorry.
Oh.
That's just for the people online so they can hear.
Yes,
Yeah.
I apologize.
Oh, no, you're fine.
I just wanted to clarify really quickly about the proposal that we're planning on taking with us to ITBC annual meeting. It's not an actual formal proposal. That would definitely go through planning. This is more to have something to share that is kind of a report that we can give out and show people how important our relationship culturally was, you know, why it's important to us, and because there are a lot of partners like the Nature Conservancy, Native Americans in Philanthropy who are there, a lot of money has been pledged, and so we just want to have something that we can share with them at the meeting to help people know that we're here, know that we're interested in this, but of course any actual proposal will go through the normal planning committee that we would always do.
Yes.
Thank you.
Thank you. And thank you for having that foresight, because yes, it is good when you're sitting there talking about your project if you have something tangible for them to look at, so.
And if I can add one thing, our next item is they'll be going to the budget committee to bring the budget forward and get that approved for that 250 that was approved for them. Yes, yes. So Jimmy, you heard it. See, it's approved.
250.
Okay. Thank you for that presentation. Thank you for coming to this evening. Item number 4, approval to amend Resolution 2358, Pawnee Nation. So, Vice President Canuho.
Sorry about that. I appreciate the presentation for that, and it's exciting to see that. I guess some of my question would be is this going to be, I mean, I saw revenue in the presentation as well, so it's revenue generating, so is there going to be a separate LLC that's going to be developed, or is it going to continue to stay under the governmental structure for the agribusinesses that you're planning on generating and producing out of that?
That's a great question, Vice President. We have spent some time looking into what our options are as far as that goes. So at this point, it hasn't really been an issue to have an LLC, as in we are still able to sell because our products have been cabs. And so we don't really have to have partners that are worried about their ability to recoup any losses. Now, if we ever get, and we're going to get to actual food sales, in which case I think LLC will be probably very important. And we have spent some time looking into our own tribal LLC laws. We'd love to be able to incorporate under the Pawnee Nation. And we've spoken with the Attorney General and the Tax Commission representative. So we're working on that, but that is, it's a big question. So it's going to take a little bit to get there. But I do thank you for that question.
Thank you very much for that.
Anything else? Okay. Yes, Councilwoman Kimball.
Thank you very much, President Nuttall. I just wanted to just say how pleased I am, and I'm sure George is too, since he is the chair for the Ag Committee, and I actually have the Daraha Committee. All of the work that has background work that has been done with this team, it's incredible, and I'm really proud and really want to support all of the goodness that they're bringing to the people in food sovereignty, whether or not it's ceremonial or just for the people. And I just want to congratulate Jimmy and his team. You all have grown so much over the last few years in the development and the depth of knowledge in this area. That's all I want to say. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Councilwoman Kimball. I think we all share in her sentiments, and we're very proud to have our own cattle company and our own herd that we're trying to grow. And this came about, right when COVID was hitting. So yes, I know it's been a task, to get this off the ground. So thank you. Thank you both. Treasurer Chapman.
Yes, I just wanted to also thank Sunny and Jimmy for the presentation. You all have done a real good job. I know when COVID happened and the business was started, it was nothing, and you have built it into a very awesome program through hard work and your expertise. And I'm looking forward to it growing, and I too fully support and look forward to it coming before the council. Thank you.
Thank you, Treasurer Chapman. Okay, anybody else? If not, we'll move on to item number 4, approval to amend Resolution 2358, Pawnee Nation Mental Health LLC banking authorization.
Hello, Council. There's been a lot, just kind of give a brief update of where we're at today. There's been a lot of tedious work going on the last couple of weeks. I know we met last time approving this resolution, but there's a lot of entities involved in the process of looking at all documents, getting all the correct language in there, and providing everybody to add comments. One of the things that was needed that we didn't get a chance to add to the resolution was getting some language and getting the title company included in this. So in the areas of red was where we were able to include them and add that stipulation in there. So basically what this basically does is add that. And then this agreement is basically just agreeing with all the parties that, if there is an incident where there is damages or loss of property, it's kind of like an insurance compensation that, things will get paid. So that's just including our due diligence and making sure and minimizing risk as we move forward with the project. So we just wanted to include that. That's required for the title company. So we wanted to add that in there so they were able to add their comments. We kept everything the same. We added the comments that I know Councilwoman Kimball added. We added those in there. And this is just adding this language in there for the title company. So that's basically it.
Does council have any questions for Brian?
I'll make a motion to approve with changes.
Got a motion on the floor to approve with changes. Is there a second?
I'll second.
Second by Treasurer Chapman. Can you point to me, let's see where it says in here what the STG stands for?
It stands for Stewart Title Company. So it's not listed above, so we can add it to that where it says STI. We'll spell that out, so I guess we can make approve with with changes, but just scroll down where it says STC, but that's what it,
STG, page 3 is where I see it, but I didn't see it referenced anywhere before that.
STG. Well, let me see what STG. I'm trying to find out. I think it means like Stewart title. I just don't know what the G stands for, but I can let y'all know. I can break that out
Say group.
later on.
Yeah, if you can just get that name inserted in there, the full name inserted in there, because it's not referenced anywhere else.
Okay.
And that still falls under the with changes. Ready to call for the vote?
Jordan Canuho?
Yes.
George Gardapi, yes. Carol Chapman?
Yes.
Cynthia Butler?
Yes.
Donna Hare?
Uh-huh.
Sammy Kimball?
Yes.
Okay. Item number 5, we have approval of resolution 2363, ARPA allocation for the behavioral health construction closing costs.
Yes, so last couple of weeks have been very tedious. Just kind of want to update the group. The good news is we are looking to finalize closing on November 29th next week. So all the work that's been going on, we're at that stage of finalizing the closing of it. One of the things that are required is the $250,000 for to cover the closing costs for the loan agreement. So here is what I was requesting to cover that cost. So when we were looking at, I talked to Vice President Canuho last night. I talked to Carol Chapman earlier today. And then I talked to James, is looking at what funding could be used to cover that closing costs. So there was some allocated funds that weren't used previously. On October 25th, there was a resolution that was earmarked for the behavioral health that hasn't been used for amount of $233,333. And that leaves us a remaining amount of $16,667. So there's some funding left in the ARPA Pawnee Business Grant that there's $51,000 left in that. So we can utilize the $16,667 out of that, because that program no longer exists, because when we closed down the COVID division, that was one of the programs under their umbrella, and we just don't implement any of those programs anymore. So that's just kind of left over from that. So we're not depleting any more out of the ARPA. We're just reallocating those to cover the closing costs for this project. To get us a
Council have any
closing.
questions? Did this go through Budget Committee?
It did not, because I found out 3 p.m. yesterday that this was kind of what was needed. So I know I reached out to the president. I know you weren't feeling good and stuff like that. So I called Vice President, kind of explained to him where we were at with the situation and what was needed. So we were able to go back and just looked at the money that was kind of allocated. So we're not asking for more off of the total that the amount that's in the ARPA is just reappropriating the funds that haven't been. So we didn't go through the budget committee, but we're going to utilize some of the money that's been earmarked for behavioral health already and taking, you know, those use of funds to cover the purpose of this.
Treasurer Chapman, what are your thoughts on this?
I did discuss it with Brian, and just for the facts that, you know, it was already behavioral health money being reallocated, I'm okay with it. We can take it to budget, but I think there's a time issue, but it's okay. I mean, we looked at it with James, so.
Anybody
And
else
it was
have any
already,
questions?
ARPA allocations were all council actions though, right? So it's not
Yes.
really necessary to go through budget committee for this, I don't think, so I'm good with it.
Well, what we're doing though is we're reallocating funds.
Right.
And that was one of the kind of priorities that I had sent Treasurer Chapman and James and Penny, was that, you know, we're sitting here trying to figure out how much funds we have remaining. And those funds, you know, because they were done by resolution, they have to be, because the total amount wasn't utilized. So they have to basically de-obligate funds. And that hasn't occurred. So we're doing another resolution. So when you add up all these resolutions, it's not going to equal the amount that we received, because those other funds haven't been de-obligated. So there needs to be some kind of mechanism in place to track that it, you know, was obligated for this initially, this amount was de-obligated, and then it's been reallocated to this amount, or something in place, something similar in place. And I know we have a deadline because of the closing. When does this have to be completed by?
Like, we need to start transferring the funds over pretty soon. So,
we have a meeting, we have our meeting
like
Monday.
probably, you know,
Our-
start tomorrow, if not Monday, getting everything over.
Okay.
The majority of the funds, well, so is that essential, Brian? I mean, it was behavioral health money and it's going back to it, but we do have the meeting Misty Monday and Tuesday, remember, on what you're talking about. So
Yeah, correct. So Resolution 2189 is Behavioral
Right.
Health Facility Infrastructure Package, you know,
Yes.
so that has not been touched.
So in this resolution, I would like to see where that money's coming from, because if we're using a past resolution, which is already earmarked, right, for behavioral health, I think that should be listed. That way you're listing all of the funding resources that you're doing. That way it's financial accountability for where we're pulling this from to obligate it or to reappropriate.
yes,
That would be
that's
my
good.
suggestion.
Right, that's
on
a
the
good,
resolution.
yes, that would clarify it a lot more. Because it was already allocated, it's spelling it out in detail more, like Councilwoman Butler said.
And I can add that whereas that explains that
Well,
breakdown.
it could just go under what is that, the third whereas, where it has the amount right there. It could just go underneath it to show, maybe even putting the resolution number of what was or
Covers,
what they're referencing, like the,
cover costs will come from,
Here's
yeah.
my question, though. If you have a resolution 2189 and that amount hasn't even been touched yet, what was the purpose of that resolution? And does it just need to be rescinded?
that was another thought I had.
So,
Because I don't have 2189 in front of me, so I can't speak to what it says.
yeah, so that one was when we went to PBC to get that one approved, was the attempt, we went after a HUD grant to help some of the construction costs for the behavioral health. Unfortunately, we weren't awarded that grant, so we just didn't use it, but we didn't rescind it. since we didn't award it, but that was the intent, just to kind of give some back history of it. It was to cover some of the construction costs for the Behavioral Health Center through the ICBG grant, and we weren't awarded it at that time. So that's just to give a little back history of why that resolution was passed back then, to cover some of that construction cost then.
And we know the closing cost is 250,000 exact?
Correct, because I got the phone call yesterday, and they wanted to start the process of the transitioning the funds over.
Well, what's your pleasure? Because that one is only for 233,000, and you said 16,000 was coming from where?
Resolution 2157, ARPA Pawnee Business Grant Program. When that grant was established of August 24th of 21, the intent was kind of, at that time, was the beginning of ARPA. And when that program was established, was to kind of help business programs that were impacted economically during COVID. It was to kind of help them cover some of their loss of income. Well, when we created that program, only, about half the money was spent, which left over about a 51,000, remaining balance. So since this is a business, we kind of correlated it. But I mean, again, it's just, we can use some of that to cover just the 16,667, which will make a total of 250,000.
So was there a deadline for that grant program? Has it ended?
Well, yes, it ended when COVID division ended. So there's some other programs that are in here that was under that umbrella of the COVID division. And when we ended that program of 12/31 of last year, there were some unused funds that were created for that division. Now, to help some tribal members and other entities and so forth under the realm of the COVID division, some of the funds just weren't used. So when that program division ended, that then left a balance. So we were just, instead of just depleting what was the remaining balance of unallocated ARPA funding, we just kind of wanted to utilize some of the allocated unused balance just to cover the 16.
So did that 100,000 from the Department of Transportation, did that go away as well?
So at that time, that was kind of like what they kind of do, and it was more kind of, how to explain it, they got their own, 5-year plan, so it was limited of what they do, at least on the transportation side of it. If it's like low-level grading, maybe doing some striping on the part, kind of some of their day-to-day operation, where it was kind of more like an in-kind kind of thing. So
It wasn't cash?
Yes,
It was
ma'am.
in kind? Okay, thank you. Any other questions?
That
Yes,
would be a whereas.
Councilwoman Kimball.
Thank you. I'm no accountant, but it seems like there's just a whole lot of gray going on right now. If you all are comfortable, I'll go with the majority, but it just seems to me like we need to do our housekeeping with the original resolution. That's, if we could pull that up and at least put it to bed, so to speak, before we spend the money on something different. That's just my opinion. I'm not an accountant, but I like to have everything clean.
Yes,
Thank you.
Thank you, Councilwoman Kimball. Treasurer Chapman?
Yes, I was just wondering how long that would take for us to maybe take those two resolutions and finish them out, rescind them, and take the balances to make it accurate. I mean, would that take a long time for his purposes? Brian?
I feel
Or
like,
would-
I feel we could rescind the first one tonight because
Okay.
that's unallocated, that was for a grant. So I think that we can do that. But on the second one, I do have a question because it's 16,000 and that was what that was the program, right? The business program that was developed. But even though, and this is just my thinking because we have until 2024 to spend, the end of 2024 to spend this money. Just because the program, the COVID program ended, all the other programs ended? Because there was no specific, well, on the resolution that she pulled up, there was no specific time frame. So why couldn't they just apply for that then?
To my knowledge, when the COVID division ended, all the programs ended at that time. So a lot of these programs, one, we don't have personnel.
Because I don't want to rescind this resolution, because, you know what I mean? Because it was specific purpose and it was utilized. It's just, how do we get around this? Or not really get around it, how do we utilize this? Because it's not officially an
And
allocated,
it hasn't ended.
yeah,
Well,
it
there's
has,
no
it hasn't
ending
ended
there.
because we're still going until 2024. Now, that's the thing.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know, I'm trying to rationalize it. I'm just like,
You would rescind it because it's been utilized
Mhm.
already.
yes.
Well, I'm glad you found funds there, but the problem here is that we didn't know there were funds there. I mean, because the COVID division ended, and now you're saying all the programs that were along with it are now defunct. So how much of that funding that was allocated has unspent? I mean, that's where we're getting back to from our last meeting. We don't know where we're at financially.
Well, George, Councilwoman Gardapi, we are having the final round for the tribal budgets Monday and Tuesday. The finance department is meeting. We're having the meeting, Jennifer, me in there, and this is one of the things that has got to be put together by finance to bring that information out to us and in a report. So we will be discussing that as we finish out this budget for 24. So yes, it's got to be done. They had to cancel because they had too many things going. So this is the first time they're able to get the records together and stuff. So
So I have another question. Just bring something up. So in the finance quarterly report, they said they had unallocated funds for 700,000, roughly 700,000. So instead of using this, the funding from this, why can't he just use the 16,000 to cover the rest of it from unallocated funds?
We know it's there.
Because we know it's there, and we know it's unallocated. Because it just puts it in a gray area for me, because you're utilizing
Yeah,
a program
you're
that
right.
probably shouldn't, we shouldn't,
I mean-
we're not going to do anything with it yet, because
Right.
it's not being used. So
Right.
that would be my recommendation.
Sounds good to me.
I mean,
Yes,
it all
me
kind of
too.
balances out, so I was just
Yeah.
trying to
Okay,
utilize
so
something,
are
but
we
yeah.
going to?
right. Okay. Well, it's a good
rescind
discussion.
Resolution 2189?
Yes, I'll make a motion to amend the agenda
Okay.
to add to new business number 6, rescission of resolution, whatever the resolution number is.
2189.
2189. Yeah, that.
Okay, I got a motion made by Councilwoman Butler to add item number 6 to the agenda, rescission of Resolution 2189. Is there a second?
I'll second.
Second by Treasurer Chapman. No further discussion, we'll call for the vote.
Jordan Cornujo?
Yes.
George Gardapi, yes. Carol Chapman?
Yes.
Cynthia Butler?
Yes.
Donna Hare?
Oh,
Sammy Kimball?
Yes.
Okay. So that one is rescinded, and then, so now,
Oh, it's added to the agenda, that's right. Sorry. We added it to the agenda.
yeah. Okay, now we're going to item number 6. Should we have added that to number 5 and then,
Yeah. Yeah, we could do that. We can make it number 5.
Okay, we'll
Item
make
number
it
5.
number 5, and then we'll move approval of Resolution 2363 to item number 6. Motion made by Councilwoman Butler. Treasurer Chapman, do you agree with that change?
I do.
Okay. Does anyone want to change their vote?
No.
If not, we'll use the previous vote. So motion passes. Now, item number 5, rescission of Resolution 2189. Is there a motion?
I'll make that motion.
Got a motion on the floor to rescind Resolution 2189 by Councilwoman Butler. Is there a second?
I'll second.
Second by
I'll
Treasurer
second.
Chapman. No further discussion. We'll call for the vote.
Jordan Canuho,
Yes.
George Garter, PS, Carol Chapman,
Yes.
Cynthia Butler,
Yes.
Donna Hare,
Uh-huh.
Sammy Kimball.
Yes.
Okay, motion passes. And then item number 6, approval of Resolution 2363, ARPA allocation. So on this agenda, on this resolution, we don't need to identify the funding source. It just says American Rescue Plan Act. So we're entertaining a motion to approve Resolution 2363 as is.
I'll make a motion to approve.
Got a motion by Councilwoman Butler. Is there a second?
I'll second. I'll second.
Second by Treasurer Chapman. Let's call for the vote.
Jordan Canuho,
Yes.
George Garter, PS, Carol Chapman,
Yes.
Cynthia Butler,
Yes.
Donna Hare,
Uh-huh.
Sammy Kimball.
Yes.
Okay. Item number 6, we have open forum. Is there anything for open forum? Yes.
Is on? Now? Good evening. Thank you for giving me this time here. The Charlotte Council met this past Saturday and trying to continue on with our tradition between Christmas and New Year. We throw down the gauntlet to you all and challenging you all to a hand game during that time. December 28th, I believe it's a Thursday, 6 o'clock at the Rome Chief. We'll be utilizing the Nasharo sticks. Electa Hare's our cook for that, so what we be providing for that, it will be the soup and the bread, and then we're asking potluck, everybody brings something. So, that's all.
Well, your challenge is accepted.
Okay.
I just want to say, I think, I don't think Frank should participate. I've seen him, he's deadly. We want a chance. No.
Okay, one more time, where at?
At the Rome
Rome
Chief,
Okay,
the December 28th, eat at 6.
all right, got
Okay,
you down.
that's all.
All right, thank you. Now you heard it, all of y'all be there.
December 28th, was that what we ate?
Get your recruiting on. Yeah,
We need
December
to-
28th at 6 PM at the Rome Chief.
I don't know about using their sticks, though. I don't know if that's
Might be advantage.
yeah.
Okay, do we have anything online? Oh, Mr. Wade, I have your hand raised, or I see your hand raised.
Yes, thank you, President Nuttall. Just a couple quick things that might be helpful for you all. I know earlier you were talking about that resolution and trying to find out what STG is. I've dealt with them before. I believe that's Stewart Title Guarantee. If you look at your resolution, there's probably some language to that. You're probably going to have a bank in there or something that, whatever bank you're using, they're going to all use guarantee there. So if that helps you somewhat, that's probably what that is. So the other thing is, and this goes to something that triggered my mind when Councilwoman Kimball had mentioned food sovereignty when Jimmy was giving his presentation. I don't know if Jimmy's still there, but there might be funding out there that you guys can look at or have them look at when you're talking about food sovereignty and how you tie that into health equity. There's a lot of health equity grants out there, and you might be able to explore that. It sounds like they have an exploratory business model right now that they're proposing. So I would just encourage them to to look in that area as far as health equity and how they can tie that in. Just a couple of thoughts that I had as a tribal member, maybe for you guys to pass on to those that are running the organization. So appreciate your time.
All right, thank you. Yes, you lit Brian, that light bulb just went on right, real bright above his head, so when you stated that. And then also just to let you know that Councilwoman Butler forwarded that on to Jimmy.
Okay. All right.
All
Well,
right.
appreciate it and have a good evening.
Yes, thank you.
Then it just burned out.
Was there someone else? Councilwoman Kimball, did you have your hand raised?
No, I put it in the chat. Thank you.
Okay, thank you.
I just have one thing. I sent the council an email about the parade of lights for Saturday. Just wanted to remind you guys, if you guys wanted to do a float, to get that ready for Saturday. I don't know if you guys are going to do that or not. I think I'm going to be I'm on another float, but it would be really good for you guys to join in. I think I did mention it to DeSoto Beard as well for the Chiefs Council. So if you guys wanted to do a float for Saturday evening for the parados. Okay. Okay. Okay.
And what time is that?
It starts at 6, but 5 o'clock is the lineup for the parade. It usually only lasts about 5 to 10 minutes, but I really want to get Pawnee Nation representation over there. Thank you.
Thank you. Anyone else? Anything in the chat? Yes. Okay. You almost missed it, Ann.
It's on.
Oh, okay. Okay. I want a status report on the tourism. The little pamphlet that they put out did not mention Pawnee Indians. What's the status on that?
The Chamber of Commerce doesn't put that out. It's at Oklahoma, and I'm not for sure. I'm trying to find out who from Oklahoma does it. And it would just be us submitting something to them. So I was going to get with Jennifer, and I don't know who else to get with, communications maybe, or even like our cultural division, to get something written up to send, because different organizations do that around the state of Oklahoma. It's not a specific person. And the book that you gave me, the chamber, they didn't know who it was that authored the book, the pamphlet. So we'll get that information sent, but the chamber is going to be doing, they only do their publications, I think they said, every 5 to 6 years, and they're not looking to do one here for a while. They gave me a bunch of those books that they do, but I'm going to try to get us in there whenever they do. So it is on their radar that we want to put something in about the Pawnee Nation in the Pawnee City Chamber of Commerce.
So nobody knows where the state got the information or didn't get the information?
No. They weren't a part of the publication, so they weren't for sure, but I did ask the Chamber of Commerce who
Yeah,
authors it.
Okay. I brought pumpkin cake tonight, and for $5, you get a big piece, and you get a ticket, because we're going to give this away. It's a Travelers fundraiser. We've done several cups. This is a plain Jane cup. That was prettier. But that's what your $5 is going to give you. And then, what's the latest on the Full Bloods? Nothing? You all kind of seemed interested, but for the Grandparents' Day dance, y'all were going to do something, and I got asked by 3 or 4 people, what about our gift bags? And I said, that wasn't my department. I don't know what happened to them. And, okay, speaking of Full Bloods, because y'all seemed interested, but that's September. This is what, you even discussed T-shirts for Full Bloods? Heard that rumor. That's just a rumor, though. Okay. These are the bags that the Iowas put out. Got a whole bunch of stuff in the back. I really like it, really neat. I mean, if y'all were wanting to do something for the full bloods eventually, maybe. This would be better than a t-shirt, but I mean, you wouldn't have to know anybody's size. Cheryl, can you show this one for me, please?
Well, I'm reading, hey, no.
Well, that's what I was gonna say, if someone can take a picture of it from their social services department.
Thank you, miss.
Well, we will certainly get that back on the radar, because yes, I know that was in an email, because I read that something was supposed to be forthcoming, so.
Okay. So anyway, and there's only 68 full bloods now, so you all wouldn't have to spend as much money. But anyway, then I wanted to tell you that the Travelers are gonna sponsor the 3rd annual Grandparents' Day Dance again. It's September the 8th, 2024. And First Bank and Trust is gonna be the co-sponsor. He really enjoyed himself when he came out, Clark Schaus, and I asked him if they would do it again, and he said yes, they would. And I've already picked the head staff, even though it's not until September. But the head staff is former PBC member Darrell Wildcat, current PBC member Donna Hare. That's the head man and head lady. Pat Leading Fox is the head singer. The little boy is Ty Eckerhawk, and the little girl is Riley Peters. And Francis Soxie is going to be the arena director. And I guess I have to ask you all permission. The bank would like to put up a banner just for the day over at the Roundhouse, advertising their bank, First Bank and Trust. I don't know how big of a banner, and I'm asking you all permission for him to do this.
What are your thoughts? Is that, you good? Good. It's approved.
Oh, good. Well, I hope to see you all there. We had quite a crowd last year, and we only had 5 adult man dancers, but there was about 8 or 10 from little guys on up to teenager. They were all straight dancers. And let's see. I guess that's all I have to say.
All right, well, how did your
Thank you.
event go today? Did you want to report on your event?
What?
How did your event go today? Did you want to report on your event?
Oh, yes. The Travelers started the Elizabeth Black Elk Education Award, I think, in 2015. And we, from the very beginning, we wanted to give it to a graduate of Pawnee Nation College, which we have done, except for 2 instances. There was not a Pawnee. And we gave them, I had a plaque made with all the names on it of the winners so far. And we presented that plaque to, okay, I'm getting ahead of myself. I got a call from Cordelia Clapp, and she said, Pawnee Nation College would like to take over the Elizabeth Award and make it into a scholarship. So I immediately said yes, and during the powwow, we gave the college the plaque that we had printed up with all of the names on it. And then I wanted to do a smaller one with just Elizabeth. And we finally got that done, and I can't tell you what it said. It was all about Elizabeth, good stuff. Mainly that she was the first female president of the Business Council. She was a wife, a mother, a grandmother. She was a college graduate. She was also a trustee at Pawnee Nation College and the first woman president. We also put that she liked everything about Pawnee, the culture, the language, and we even put in that she liked attending the dances and hang games. And the last line says, Elizabeth was the daughter of Alban Sr. and Mary Pratt Leaderfox. So like I said, we didn't get it done in July, so I finally got it done. And today, over at the Alban Leaderfox building where these plaques are gonna hang, I let Mary Faye present the plaque to the Stacy, she's the president.
Stacy Burns, yes.
Yeah, Pawnee Nation College. And there was a handful of us there. Cindy came. And hopefully they'll get the plaques hanging up. Because I wanted something that told about Elizabeth. Because the students over there, you know, they wouldn't know anything
Yeah.
about her.
Well, good. I'm glad you had a good little turnout. Yeah, we seen the video that was posted, so.
Yes. So that was the last act for the Travelers. Now, Elizabeth Leaderfox Scholarship now belongs to the college.
All right. Thank you for that.
So we started something small and we ended up with something big.
Oh, good. And it'll continue on.
Yes.
All right. Okay,
And thank you for your time.
thank you.
Oh, I told you we had cake. Yeah, okay.
Jamie?
So I just wanted to let everybody know that the Cultural Resource Division will be having their hand game this coming Sunday, November 26th at Rome Chief with a 1 p.m. meal and a hand game to follow. And we are also working on doing a fundraiser for a meat raffle, which is the deluxe family pack from Wild Country Meats. And so we also want to thank the Wild Country Meats in Cleveland for doing this fundraiser with us. It'll be for $5 for 1 ticket or $20 for 5 tickets, and we will be drawing this at the Christmas Day dance. And all the funds will be used for the Pawnee Rick Raw reunion next year.
And you're going to be having more fundraisers, correct, for that?
Yes, so this will be our first fundraiser, and so in 2024, we plan to have lots more. And we're also accepting donations.
Okay. Nothing further for open forum. We're going to set the next meeting date. What you got for me, Secretary? Tuesday.
Which is what? December what? December 5th.
Okay, it'll be December the 5th at 5:30 here at the Resource Center. Okay, if nothing else, we'll move on to item number 8, adjournment. I entertain a motion to adjourn.
I'll make a motion.
Heard a motion by Secretary Gardapi. Is there a second?
A second.
Second.
Carol.
Second by Councilwoman Butler.
Oh, okay.
All in favor, say aye.
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 Any opposed? Not, we'll adjourn.
7:43.